Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. So at this year's CitizenCon, we got a behind the scenes look into how they create the planets for Star Citizen. In particular, the procedural planets like Arccorp and the interiors for all the buildings. Now, as you can imagine, creating a planet alone is no small feat, so when it came to creating a planet the size of Earth, completely covered in buildings, they had to be really clever about it. What I am showing you now is the planet called Arccorp. So Arccorp is a planet within Star Citizen which is 100% covered in buildings and structures, leaving no trace of what the surface was like before man terraformed it. Now this is a work in progress of the current look and feel of Arccorp, so expect it to change slightly, although it does already look stunning, but it's not 100% complete. But to do this, they needed a method which could cover vast areas of land quickly, but also creatively. It had to look realistic and be as unrepetitive as possible. Not only that, but in most areas they had to be as graphically impressive close up, as players will be able to walk around these cities and get up close and personal to them. Now they knew that if they created this all by hand and placed it all by hand, the development of Star Citizen would take far longer, as it consists of 100 systems, each with multiple planets, moons and locations to explore, which will have their own cities and villages. So it was a big job. But using procedural generation, they created tools to help them do it quickly by adding assets into a database from artists, which they then used to create these areas. Now, the first tool that we were shown was City Editor. This tool looks a lot like Minesweeper, but it actually generates procedural cities as quickly as the developer can do it. They take a grid and place perimeters for the districts, which are the travel lanes, and then they fill in the areas like residential, commercial, industrial, all of the districts that you would expect to find within a city. Using these small blocks, they can fill them out until they feel it contains all the necessary features. So you can see T is transportation districts, H is habitation, and after which they just hit the fill city layout and it adds all the models like NPCs, particle effects, shops, signs, everything gets propagated. Then after they hit save city layout, just like that, the city is created. And when they fly overhead, you can actually see the different districts. You've got the industrial district, which is all built up. The commercial has loads of these neon signs and shops dotted around. But they also will have a transportation between them, and we've spoke about this a little bit on stream, which could consist of roads, not likely planet-side roads, but maybe traffic lanes for ships to move along. But also a monorail system is a possibility, which I think would look incredible, especially looking out of the window on. Now, when it comes to the interiors, this was equally impressive. This is the layout editor or interior editor, and they use a flow graph system that they have a graph of all of the rooms, which include the elevators, the hallways, the doors. All rooms are connected in a way which make them meaningful. Some rooms may be for mission givers, others may be for treasures, and so on and so forth. So they have many different properties. Now, after they have this flow graph done, they head to the editor and load the flow graph. Then enter the deterministic seed number, and then the tool just builds the environment for them without even having to do it themselves. It just generates in front of them. Now, there are two issues when it comes to building it themselves rather than using this generation tool. If they were building it themselves, they would need to make sure that the connection walls work, the add lights, place NPCs, the atmosphere, the power, they all need to make sense. And people are prone to error, as we know. If they forget a link, for example, it could just take so much time to go back and forth to it. But also just the time it takes to do this. The room generation was so fast that a lot of the interiors around these cities will be generated so we can explore them. This opens the door to so much more. But next up, they need to integrate all these systems, like the cities and the interiors, onto the planets and into their ecosystems. So changing some of the properties, they can make them scatter seamlessly around Arccorp, which is the example we've shown. And this will just include the external cityscape, as well as the internal rooms and buildings, like shops and so forth. Now this is really incredible stuff, and all of which it just makes the creation of Star Citizen possible. Without this, they would be spending far too long doing this. Now this system of tools, like with all areas of Star Citizen, allow for the creation to be done quickly, but also correctly, and to create a greater visual standard. Integrating it well into the landscape is a concern, to ensure that it all looks natural and when travelling between villages and towns and cities. But following this, I'm looking forward to the addition of flora and fauna, which we are yet to see. We've seen a little bit of it on the Hurston demo, but this will add more depth and variety to the locations, which I think is very important. Hoping we get to see apartments inside a lot of these buildings. I know they've said they want to do that, so fingers crossed. Anyway, that was a little example of the tools that they are using. Don't forget we are giving away a cutlass at the moment, so follow the top link below. Also, we always have a monthly giveaway for a Star Citizen starter package, courtesy of my patrons who pledge money every month to help me do this. They provide the money for my editing software, for some of the hardware, as well as the giveaways themselves, so thank you to you guys. Be sure to follow me here on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter and Instagram, and I shall see you next time.